Hello, I hope all is progressing well. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Welcome to, I don't know, we can think about it. Wait a minute, that's a different show. Of course we can think, different idea. I don't know, we can talk about it. And of course, thinking is a very important process. So I hope whenever you decide to join a discussion or engage in any aspect of life, you take time to think. A very wonderful process, a very special process. So, the first couple of topics, not that they really go together, but they do go together because we're talking about health and wellness. In one degree, fresh fruits versus dried fruits. They don't have to be versus in an aggressive way. They can be friendly. There's no need for any hostility. It's just the article I'm reading from suggests each has perks, if you will. Of course, fresh fruits seem to offer a lot more abundance, a lot more of a fuller experience than dried fruits. Though dried fruits do come to have different benefits, such as more fiber, and I think can probably be a little less messy due to being less juicier. Now, one aspect I have to really consider concerns the brand. I don't know if all brands use the same types of ingredients, preservatives or not. I think keeping in mind that ingredients can vary per brand is very important. I recall eating dried fruits very minimally growing up, and even I remember dealing with a child, and a child really teaching me that dried fruits taste really good. They like dried fruits. And I'm like, there's so much sugar in it. And they're like, it tastes good. And I'm like, yeah, though, there's way too much sugar. Which is another point the article brings up. Beware of any additional sugars. And I think that's a good point for any aspect of what anyone eats. Just beware of the sugar consumption, especially when it's additional sugar, not natural sugar, that might already be a part of what a product has naturally, like an apple, versus the dry form, which might have additional sugars to give it more flavor. So, with that, I think it's very important to be aware that sugar is not really good in a large capacity, especially. So, respect the daily value and respect your diet, respect your body, respect what you need, and value what you need, whether that is more of something healthy and less of something unhealthy, or just on this topic of more fresh fruit than dry fruit. Now, there are a lot of aspects of this conversation because you might feel wonderful when you have sugar. And I'd be like, well, sugar makes me feel so good. Of course, well, that's really the point of sugar. So I just want you to be very, very mindful of that aspect of sugar. And of course, choosing what you choose to eat, because some things might make you feel really good and really internally are not really good for you. Moving on to the next topic concerning meditative spaces, Zen spaces in academic settings, which I think is a really good idea. Though, I'm also considering that, well, every academic setting will have a different population to serve. And of course, what might work in one setting might be a little less feasible, at least seemingly so, in another setting. So I think considering population density in an academic setting might help navigate creating more Zen-like spaces for individuals. Though, Another aspect of the conversation I think is important to regard concerns creating a manual for students to be able to create their own Zen-like spaces wherever they are, whether that be in a safe space outside of school or a safe space within school. I think an aspect of the article I like concerns the group settings that allows for individuals to be present with each other, though able to leave at will whenever needing to tend to a part of the social, emotional aspect of their well-being. I think that's good. I think what can additionally be valuable concerns students being able to express fully in the moment, in the sense of what I've come to learn from Dr. Christiane Northrup, author of Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, amongst other books. Righteous anger, allowing a person to feel, if it is such an anger, a certain way, though helping the student rechannel that energy elsewhere. Now, of course, we're living in a day and age where we have a lot more tools and resources available for students, for individuals in academia to succeed and thrive, especially along the social and emotional routes now. And these tools and resources are going to continue to grow and expand and develop. Of course, I think it's very important that an individual recognizes oneself as an ultimate resource, an ultimate tool, an ultimate form of being which can navigate toward other resources, tools, and individuals, entities that may be of use and help toward becoming more well-rounding individual for oneself as well as for worlds one may encounter. I think having the open expression for students can be very helpful. I want to say every student will be able to just join a sport and learn to channel in that regard, pick up a skill or a hobby, fully delve within the hobby in self, in connection, in an ultimate way of creativity. I want that. That would be awesome. To culture such requires a lot of assistance from without and within academic setting, whichever settings one individual lives in. There are a lot of avenues toward resolves. There are already resolves, and every individual is different, requiring a variety of different touches and individuals of different expertises to unify, respecting how each may diversify. All right. With this, we're going to move on to an origami session. So, for the origami session today, well, we'll be right back here on I Don't Know. We can talk about it because I need to make sure I have some origami paper for us. All right, so now we're gonna get started on this elephant. So what happens with the elephant is we take the elephant, you have to kind of just like prep it down like this. See? You fold it corner to corner. I'm gonna fold it corner to corner. And as you can see, what we have is our triangle. Always important to start off with. Now the next step concerns just folding it in. So folding in to get one edge in alignment with the center. Right? So that's what we're really doing. We're bringing this edge in, one edge in, we're going to just bring it toward the center. This way, we'll have our next form to go from. See here? So now what we have to do is turn it over. So we take it, we're just going to turn it over. and we're gonna fold it similarly. So just take it here, and then we're gonna take the similar pattern with the edges to the center. Similar pattern here, one edge to the center, and I'll show you here in a little bit what mine looks like here, right here. So then we're just gonna open it up, okay? So now that we have it open, the next step is so this is where we get an intricate fold, I like to call it. We're going to take I'm gonna take my fingers here. Excuse me. I'm gonna take my fingers here and I'm gonna fold it in and make like a little cup. So fold it in. What helps is to start from the sides, the corners where you have the straight line, but the short straight lines. You see, these are the short straight lines, and the long lines are down the middle. So here, just fold it in, and then we're gonna have it come here like this. So now that we have our development so far, we're gonna just take one angle, and we're just gonna fold it toward it, and that's gonna be our top. So you see, so before, as you can see, the idea, after that initial fold, after that, I like to call it, I say complex fold, folding it in here, coming in here, folding it up, and now we're gonna take, we have our top here, we're gonna make this point, meet this point in the arrow. Okay, so we're gonna take this right here, and it meets it perfect. Look at that, voila, it meets it. So the next thing now we're gonna do is we're just gonna actually turn this around. We're gonna turn it around and immediately start. I'm just gonna take this tip, we're just gonna fold it back. So we already folded along the crease, we folded it on before, and of course, the next step is we're going to fold. See how I'm folding it? Fold our whale. We have our whale coming in half, right? It's coming along very well. So the next thing is we're just gonna fold the flap in. So we're gonna have our fins. So we're just gonna take our fins and we're just gonna kind of give it like a nice little fold in here. Just a nice fold so we can have some angle. Now the trick to this is making sure that this edge, the edge meets the center line, the short center line, as best as possible. The more you make it meet it, the more you'll have an angle on your fin. So I'm just making it, I'm giving it like a decent angle, but the mathematical, form, I think, if you want to get accurate, to get a very defining fin, is to make it go edge down straight across the line. So that's what I'm doing here, and that's the reason why the fins have that pronunciation. Next, we have our whale face, we have our fins, and of course we have to make our tail now. So we're just gonna take our tail, we're gonna bend it. Now the cool thing about tails in origami, they're usually similar, but this is one of the common ones, okay? So you can bend it however you want, but what happens here when you have this tail is you can either flick it down one way and leave it, or take it in and give it this nice little reverse fold. So what happens with the reverse fold is the tail starts to get like a unique form. You can fold it within, right here. You see, you get this nice little form. Then it looks like a double whale, little flip. Or you can kind of just give it, if you want, a flip in here, and then you get this kind of a tail. So however what you decide is completely up to you. So I actually use, get a little funky whale tail. See how it's alive here? See, it's just like a funky whale. And this is our tail. This is our whale. And so now that we're here, I can just like puff it up right there. Wow, we have our whale. So I actually learned how to do this origami form after reviewing it on this website, and I'll share the link so you can have access to a whale form. Of course, if you use paper that's more available to draw on, you can draw on paper that already has a design. You can add eyes and more distinctions in the nose. However you want to design it, you may. So now we can move on to 3 films. Yes, I watched 3 films because I'm a subscriber, just so people know, of AMC. So what happens is I get to watch 3 films. Any AMC subscriber gets to watch 3 films per week. Of course, the price exchange is worth it to me, $25 around there for 3 films a week. Definitely beats going to the film one time or twice for $16 or so. Even if it's on a Tuesday, the Tuesday deal can be pretty cool though, because a person can watch multiple films on a Tuesday at a reasonable rate, especially if one does 1 film a week. Though I like films, and it's a great avenue to me to enjoy the theater, enjoy film. So with that, I watched 3 films recently, and I'm gonna be quick with both of them, all 3 of them, excuse me. So I'll follow this protocol, and I'll start with the first film. The first film I watched is the Ant-Man Quantumania. The idea is the new Ant-Man film, excuse me for butchering the title, creatives. I know it takes time to create a title sometimes. Forgive me for not using the full name. We'll come around to that. I'll make sure to put it correctly elsewhere. The recent Ant-Man film does have a lot that I think is cool, I think is attractive to audiences. So do I think it's worth watching in theater? No doubt about it. The way the presentation of the film is, the big screen fits the film very well. The film fits the big screen very well. The story is alright. It's a decent film, catching up with the Ant-Man family and the expansion of the Ant-Man universe. It's somewhat comical, a different level of comedy, though I think that the film's appeal works in a larger sense, and I think that's a tough part with watching hero type films or films that are in universes with so many characters, because one film might feel more like a filler film, while another film might feel like the main development plot for this entire universe, like a very important aspect of the universe, which I think Ant-Man is proposing very intense characters in the universe as important to what will be happening in the universe. So I'm like, this might be a great stepping stone towards something even better. I do think it's worth watching in theaters. And I think the acting partners do a really good job. So, the next film is The Cocaine Bear. I do not do drugs, I do not condone drugs. And the film does a good job of really just being an advocate for individuals to not use drugs. How fictional is the film? I look up a little bit of information about how factual the film is to find the majority of the film is fictional. Though I do find the film is very metaphorical, which I think makes a lot of sense because of what we're dealing with when it comes to drugs. There is a term, a metaphor, and an adage that does relate to a bear, as being a bear of a situation, and drugs are a bear of a situation. And the film goes through all these scenarios on the basis of an actual situation that happens, missing drugs and perhaps paraphernalia, and this individual falls from the sky. So there are actual pieces of news footage in the film that are discussing the situation in actuality, history. Though the film is really touching on how these are the effects drugs can have on one's being and one's family, with this dichotomy between the human and the animal. And of course, we're dealing with fictional animals. I don't believe any real animals get hurt in the making of the film. Everything does look like CGI. So we're dealing with the realm of not only the usage of drugs, this aspect of the entire business of cocaine. We get glimpses of it to pull into this full picture. The film is deeper than it appears, which makes the film stand out. Though if one is not really looking into the deep spheres of what the film represents, the film might just be like, whoa, super gory, super, I don't want to deal with any the gore, unless one likes the goriness of films. So, I think the film is worth watching in theater. At the same time, I think the film is definitely a film that can benefit from a bit of film critique and be in film study because of the way the film presents what it is presenting, which does set it at a unique space as somewhat of an art house horror drama kind of thriller. It's wild to see. And of course, beware of drugs, be mindful, because a lot of bad things can happen when one uses certain types of drugs inappropriately. So, of course, there's a long history in the United States of drugs, just in general, whether with the approval of certain entities that approve drugs for use, then with doctors' use, huge history. I only know so much of it. The bit I know is like, wow, this is the history of drugs? Talk about science. Woo. So, those two films are complete. The next film that I do watch this week is, give me 1 second, as I look into this history of film. Pressing buttons on my phone. Magic Mike's Last Dance. I have to say, I do enjoy Magic Mike's Last Dance. I enjoy the dancing, I enjoy the theatrics, I enjoy the storyline, I do enjoy the plot development until there seems to be no plot development. The film is a comedy more so than drama full. It's definitely a dramedy though, a lot of comedy. And it's just a really fun, lively show to watch. Definitely approaching this aspect of feminism, modern feminism, revival or enlivening of the woman's spirit, or respecting the woman's spirit, respectively. I think it's very lively, it's fun to watch the women enjoying themselves. The acting partners do a really good job of bringing the fun to the show. I think it's a very sex positive showing, and I think brings a lot of dynamics of, well, what do women encounter at certain ages? And I think what the film does a great job of touching on concerns this super gap where the child, the youngest in the film, is set as an individual that is not able to access certain emotions or situations that the older women are accessing. And of course, we have this woman that's kind of in that in-between stage, though not at that teenage stage, though like an adult woman stage, like entering adulthood, or at least a woman that's coming from these feelings of, well, here's what I want to experience. I have some angst about what I really want here, and that's what the film does grapple with in using this play that's having a woman decide between, these two men, and there's a lot more. There is a lot more for the woman in what she wants and in what she feels exists for her, especially in a modern age. We're pulling from this romanticism of some classic play that's doing very well to some different sense of romanticism in the modern age that's more sexually alive than simply about money or a person with a wonderful heart. There's a balance that comes to play, which I think is really cool. The film ends up rounding out well. I think the film pulls along the audience into this journey showing, well, here are situations that women are coming from, some women are coming from, and here is where some of these women really would like to be. I'm just assessing the film. All right, so the next topic, of course, we're going to talk about is a book. Now, this book, I'm going to have to check. Thanks for your momentary patience. The book is The Dating Divide, Race and Desire in the Era of Online Romance. The text is by Celeste Von Currington, Jennifer H. Lundquist, and Ken Hu Lin. I hope I'm pronouncing your names correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. The review that I have of this book is on my website, phers.com, so please feel free to check the reviews that I write on phers.com. I like the text. The text is research around, well, what relationships are and why are relationships otherwise. I'm saying this as simply as possible because the film does touch on race, and the film does touch on desire and online romance, of course, with respect to a lens of where the choice of desire comes from, what affects one's desire, what affects one's mental decision-making processes when in a situation of online dating, of being able to choose to such an incremental degree in certain situations, certain partners. So, I like the fact the book is really at an important point in romance in the modern age for individuals that are using the internet. People use the internet for dating purposes. I like to meet individuals in person. Of course, not everyone might be an in-person person. I am. And I have no preference in regard to choosing a partner on the basis of race. That doesn't make sense to me. I have preferences toward healthy lifestyles, so I do find individuals that are living healthy lifestyles. It's 2023. Forgive me if you find offense, when I do find a woman, a cisgender woman that is living a healthy lifestyle training, I do find that attractive. So I think what the book does offer, to a degree, that I like, is individuals have more choices than might be seemingly apparent. And the reason why I like that aspect of the text is because with all the data the text is showing, that's really what's the point of the conversation for me when I'm looking at it. Will one stay with a particular mentality, or will one decide to try reasonably, whatever that might be? I understand now more so a lot about this history of miscegenation and just romance coming through the American experience historically. And I'm like, I'm glad I make decisions I make about what I make decisions about, because I know I can be proud of the decisions I make. With that, I am able to live a very mindful life. So when it comes to dating, I think relationships are easy. I understand relationships take two or however many people are in a relationship, though I find the text to be very valuable, to be very necessary for anyone that has an interest in the research. The statistics are important. The databases they research only have active users, so this is largely excluding bots and spammers. There are interviews, about 70 people, to get a feel, a deeper feel, personal feel with the data concerning certain aspects of the topics. And some of the stories in the text that these researchers find are really, really deep. They're profound stories. To find that in a family, one might consider a modern family, or at least a family in a modern day, might have a perspective of dating that connects to race, not even personality. And personality is big. So I think engaging with aspects of relationships and dating in a state of maturity can be very, very well-rounding for not only the individual, though other individuals, because dating is huge. I mean, it's a way to get to know someone, dating. And sometimes just being with a person, not using the label of dating, is a great way to get to know a person. I think it's similar to if someone is going into a marriage. If someone says, we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, or we're going to be husband and wife, I think that brings a completely different dynamic to what people might bring to a relationship. Now, of course, you're talking to Kevin Dufresne. The takes I have on datings and relationship, I do put in the music. For example, Advanced Friends with Benefits. Listen to Pondering Behind the Head. I'm just saying, I put a lot of my perspective into these regards. I'm just trying to be mindful of the text, of course. And I find the text has a lot of valuable pieces of information. So in the book review, I do set out a few excerpts that are very, very wonderful, which kind of allow for a more warm approach into the text, so one doesn't instantly think, oh, this text might be just a basher text or anything like that. Not that I'm trying to protect anyone, don't get me wrong, because anyone, as the text shows, can be in any of the situations. So I'm just saying the text is good, and I remember really enjoying it. I just don't put the text down. So the dating divide, race and desire in the era of online romance is wonderful. Of course, be safe, be mindful. Make sure you get your STI test before you embark on these romantic adventures to find the one. Health first from me. So thank you very much for watching. I don't know, we can talk about it. Today, we're full of a lot going on in this episode, and I'm glad you're here to be with that a lot going on in a way that's saying, hey, you have an opinion, and of course I value your opinion. I want to know more of what you think, so please join the conversation. Remember, I don't know, we can talk about it. It works in tandem with the forum of PHers, so please feel free to reach out via the forums as well. If you reach out to me directly, of course I'm going to respond. And I just have to say, the bookmark raffles are always on. So when people start sharing on socials or in the forums, then we're going to have more bookmark raffles. So last month we have a bookmark raffle, and this month, well, we're looking to end on a happy note. Next month, looking to have bookmark raffle. Every month we're looking to have a bookmark raffle. All I'm going to do is just keep the fun growing, and the prize will just keep expanding. And of course, thank you again for watching Onward and Upward. Kevin Dufresne.